Hi there, we're the Max Tech Plus team. I'm Allan, this is Karan, and this is Shreyas.
We got a lot of requests to make a video on how to assemble a PC.
So let's get started.
The first step in assembling your PC is attaching the central processing unit to the motherboard. To do this, you need to identify the golden triangle on one edge of the central processing unit. This triangle needs to align with the similar triangle on the processor socket, which in this case is in this corner. Make sure that the retaining arm is in the unlock position. When it is, lightly align the processor on top of the processor socket and drop it into the socket. Make sure that you do not use any left or right force while doing this. After you successfully mount the processor, move the retaining arm to the lock position. That's it, you have now mounted the processor. After the processor is successfully mounted, you need to attach the cooler. But before attaching the cooler, you need to apply thermal grease to the processor. We'll be showing that to you in a while. Next, we need to install the RAM modules. The RAM modules are inserted into the DIMM slots right here. They will be situated really close to your processor. First, look at the contacts on your RAM module. This RAM module will go only one way in. So look at this notch here and accordingly mount the RAM module into the DIMM slot. Make sure that the retaining arms are open. Push it in firmly until you hear a click sound of the retaining arms close. That's it, the RAM is installed. Applying thermal paste to your CPU is important while mounting the cooler to the central processing unit. There are two methods of applying thermal paste to your central processing unit. One is the dot method and the line method. It's purely personal preference. We are going to use the dot method today. To maintain low and stable temperatures, thermal paste is really important. You need to align the CPU cooler perfectly over the mounting holes. Make sure that you drop the CPU cooler over the CPU in a lateral fashion. Do not use sideways movements. Tighten the screws in a diagonal fashion. So that's in perfectly. Last, check whether the CPU cooler is mounted really stable to the CPU. The cooler that we just mounted is a third-party cooler used for better thermal efficiency. The cooler that you will receive with your central processing unit might be a different one compared to this unit. This one right here is the Cooler Master Hyper 212X Evo. At this stage, you can test each and every of your components by connecting them and connecting the power supply to the motherboard.
The next part is to install the PSU into the case. The PSU goes in the bottom of the case right over here. So after mounting the PSU successfully, you need to route all the cables from the rear to get a good cable management as well as mounting the motherboard.
The next step of assembly is to mount the motherboard to the case. Before installing the motherboard, we need to install the I/O shield to the rear of the case. After the motherboard is mounted correctly, it's time to connect all the power connectors. Starting with the motherboard power supply. Next one is the power supply for the CPU. It will be marked on it.
The next step is to mount the hard disk. So we connect the SATA power to this connector and the SATA data over here.
Now the final step is to install the graphic card.
As the graphics card we just installed requires external power, we'll be providing it via this PCIe connector. The last step of the assembly is to attach the front panel connectors to the motherboard. Make sure that the connectors are connected to the right port and only then attach it to the motherboard. That's it. So you're ready with your build. Like you guys saw, assembling a PC is really simple and you can try it out yourselves too. If you face any difficulties, message us on Facebook.
So please like,
Share
and subscribe.
Thank you.